Hey everybody, this is George Bashura with Shakedown of Thunder Sports, and you're about to watch the two Irish brothers. Go Irish.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, if you think as a fan you feel pissed off and upset at the loss, how do you think these guys feel?
Well, and they've said this in the past. They feel bad, and there were some losses when they lost to, um, God, I'm trying to recall the whole season now. When they had their one loss, the football team, they were upset.
This
You know,
past
they
season, are you talking about?
was that?
This past season
Yeah,
against Cincinnati?
yeah.
Okay,
You don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
that they didn't want to go out and win that game? You don't think that they wanted to help Coach Freeman go back, and at home and defeat Cincinnati, the team that he just left? No, that doesn't happen. It's not it's a out coach or something, but these guys put so much time in the locker room. They put so much time. See, you know what it comes down to? I think people don't understand the student's schedule. They don't understand how their day goes and what goes into it. We go to work 9 to 5. We come home. We deal with our family and stuff. These guys are up at the butt crack of dawn, probably in the weight room or doing something before class. They go to class, they're back at it again, doing more in their day for the sport that they're playing.
On football, it's 3 practices a day.
In
One,
meetings.
yeah,
I
meetings
would
and then
challenge
under
any
class
fan out
and
there. I would challenge any fan out there to go live the life of a student athlete and see if they'd be able to criticize.
well,
I don't
and
think
all,
you can.
no, and you can't. And then because I mean, the Notre Dame website, Notre Dame on the Notre Dame YouTube page, they've shown a couple of videos of that, what a day in the life of athletes, in particular football players that I've seen. But yeah, they're up at like 5:30 in the morning, and you know, like you said, they're hitting the weight room, going to a class. Then you have your first practice, then another class. Then after that class, maybe a meeting. Then the second practice. Then after that, another class. And then maybe after that, they'll go try to sneak in a nap or something. And by the time these guys were going to bed that night, it was like 1:30 in the morning or something like that.
And some of the guys are still hitting the playbook,
Yeah.
i.e., Kyle Hamilton,
Yeah, exactly.
Kyron Williams. You know,
And it's just, I know that not all the fans across the sports world will get that, but I think the more reasonable fans you have, the better it'll be. Because it's just like, at the end of the day, it really does not affect you. It really doesn't. I mean, yeah, we can love the team, we can get pissed off. I mean, I know I did after we lost in the Fiesta Bowl, but a few days later, it was back to routine as normal.
well, I'll touch on two topics close to that. One, look what the Alabama players went through in the press conference. Okay, I mean the guys in the media were asking the questions, and look how bad they felt. Okay, one, Alabama lost. Okay, and they got it handed to them. Okay, against Georgia, and the coach stood up for him. Same thing happens at Notre Dame. The coaches will stand up for their players, and that's respectable. But uh, to put a student athlete in that position, like I've always said, you can. I don't. I'm okay with folks being mad with the coaches and whatever. That's their job. They're getting paid to do it. But student athletes, they don't get paid. They're paying their dues by trying to bring to the field their best possible effort.
Exactly. And damn well they won a national championship. And I know that the fans do play a part. And I'm sure the coaches, the players, they all know the fans want to see them win one. But when that emotion of the fans gets to be too much, then the fans need to be put in their place.
I'm waiting for somebody, and hopefully it comes down the road here soon, that a coach gets to the microphone and just tells the fan base, you know what? Shut it.
Me too.
That's what needs to happen. If there was other things that happened in this country and folks had the ability to step up and just say the right thing to shut these other people up, it would be much better. But until somebody does that, this is what you're going to get.
Yeah. And I wanted to make one point too that I completely forgot about in the beginning. But when I was having these guys make all these excuses to me about the fans selling their tickets and whatnot, one of the things that came up was, well, Sean, it was this with that Georgia game or the Nebraska game. This was a once in a lifetime trip for these people, and that they wanted to see it so bad and this and that. And I'm like, okay, all right. Normally that would be a good point. Well, when we had our return matchup in both Lincoln in 2001 and then Athens in 2019, that was a once in a lifetime trip for our fans as well. But guess what happened? Georgia did not let their stadium get taken over. They didn't sell their tickets.
They had the minimum allotment of tickets allotted to the school.
Yes, that's the only place you saw Notre Dame fans in Sanford Stadium was in the visiting section. And even that 2001 rematch against Nebraska when we went to Lincoln, no green or blue whatsoever in that stadium, all red. And those are once in a lifetime trips for us. But you don't see those fans selling out their team like that. You don't see them being greedy just to make a few extra bucks on a ticket because it's a big game. And so, yeah, we have no excuse for that.
And it happens all the time. And I'll be honest with you here. My first game in the press box was Notre Dame versus Michigan. Okay. Back it was 2018. I think it was 2018. That was opening day. That was the one and only time that I heard the stadium as loud as I've ever heard it. I've been being there as a fan, and then being my first game in the press box. The press box was shaking. Okay, that place was so loud, and this is why teams like Alabama, this is why teams like Georgia, Clemson, this is why they win. They have a support base that's in the stands, working in their favor. You hear like I think it's Texas A&M or Texas they have the 12th man.
Yeah, and they're known as the 12th man for a reason.
It's because the fans have a bigger impact on the game than you think.
Yes, they do. And
plain and simple.
And the thing is, how that correlates with what we're talking about right now. We hear a lot from the complainers and the quote realists in our fan base, the fair weather fans, that we have to get top elite 5-star athletes and this and that. Well, do you really think an athlete like that is going to want to come to Notre Dame where there's constant complaining, even when the team is winning, when the fans are selling their tickets to big games and sell the team out to make a buck and just complain, nothing's ever good enough? Do you think a top 5-star athlete is going to want to come here when a fan base does that? And for the record, I'm not saying all of our fan base does this.
Oh no, it's a certain group, because there's fans, okay, that are all in, and then you got some fans that they're opportunists. I think that's a good word.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like the opportunists are the ones being heard the most.
Well, they're the ones that are hurting the most.
Yeah, exactly.
You're selling out for extra cash. You're selling out to make some money, and I don't want to. I mean, you can't say this because all the tickets are so expensive. Oh, this, oh, that. Sell your tickets. There are other fans out there that would be more than happy to take those tickets and not sell them. You have some fans that won't sell their tickets unless you're a Notre Dame fan, and that's straight up legit. That's fine. You're not gonna sell it out to, put it on StubHub. No, you want to sell your ticket only to a Notre Dame fan. That's the way it should be. If you don't want to go and make some cash, hey, I have no problem with you upselling to another fan. That's not a big deal.
Not the opponent. That's
the opponent. Sell your ticket to a fan if you want to make some money on a game. Don't sell it to a fan. And I mean, that's just coming here speaking as we're talking about this. That's the most logical approach, Sean, is if you're going to sell your ticket, sell it to a fan.
Yeah, sell it to a fellow Irish fan. But I will say this: not all of my fellow Irish fans I would consider a brother in arms. Believe me, I've gone head to head with quite a few, and it's not over the stadium.
It's just crazy because if you're looking at the full package, the fan base plays a big role. Shut your trap. It is what it is. You deal with it. Let the student athlete go on. If you want to get mad with the coach, be mad with the coach. They're getting paid. Okay? But even that has its limitations, and we'll go there in a few moments. But it's just to me, it's what I guess it's what social media brings. Everyone's an expert.
Oh yeah. And it's just like, I want to say too, if you're such an expert, why aren't you out there doing it?
I've said on numerous occasions, why don't you call Jack Swarbrick and say, hey, I want that job. Can I come and interview for it?
Yeah, exactly. Because they know they can't. They can all they're good for is being a mouth off couch. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you froze up there for a second.
You did too. A keyboard warrior.
Well, that was pretty much it. These people, they won't do that because they know they're just good for being a mouth off the couch with a beer in their hand, and it just that's the bottom line of it. It's just with this stuff, like selling out the stadium to the opposing team. It's like I've seen no other big time program do that or ever allow that to happen, but for some reason it happens here without question. And
it's a bigger problem.
Yeah,
it's a bigger problem when it's the alumni. Okay, there was a game that went back, and I guess there was some alumni who were in the leather seats. We'll call them the leather seat fans, alumni that sold their tickets, and the university was not happy with that. Okay, those seats are what they are, right? Those are purchased, gifted, whatever they are for whatever goes on, and how you obtain those seats. When that happened, I think that was the Georgia game. I think that happened at the Georgia game. The university was just not happy about that. Those are the folks that shouldn't be selling those tickets to other fans. They should be selling those tickets to other Irish fans.
Yeah. But it's all greed, and I think the people that I argue with about this, they just don't want to admit that it's just greed. It's all about money. It's not about you trying to send a message to the coach because you don't like him or this or that. It's just about making an extra buck.
I'm all about capitalism, man. That's what's made this country so great, is an opportunity and being able to take advantage of it, right? And get a chance to make some extra bucks. I have no problem with you selling your tickets, but don't sell them to the opposing fans. Straight up.
Use capitalism, but pick the right market.
Yes.
Pick the right market. Don't pick the market that has blue, gold, and green, not the color of the team that's visiting.
Yep.
So that's what my whole ordeal is, and people think that I'm beating a dead horse, but I will continue to beat that until the fans show me that that's not the case. Because let's see I'm trying to think of the big games on this year's schedule. I know Clemson comes back to South Bend. We're at Columbus, but anyway, all I know is we have like Clemson coming in. We have Texas A&M coming in the near future.
So you got Cal at home.
Ohio State will be coming to South Bend.
You got Cal at home. You got Marshall. Marshall, I mean, that's just a famed program right there. Marshall in itself is just a famed program.
Yes.
Marshall, Cal, North Carolina. The BYU game is a neutral game, but that's a home game.
Yeah.
Because that is the Shamrock Series game.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford, UNLV, Clemson back in November, by the way.
Yeah.
Navy's I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the Navy's away or home.
Navy would be away because we play them at home this year.
No, they're playing in Baltimore this year, so it's not at it's a neutral site. It's a neutral site game.
Yeah, Navy's always a neutral site. We have not played them in Annapolis for I don't know how long.
And you're not going to. There's only 30,000 seats, and that won't happen. There's no way the town would get so jammed up that that no one would be able to move.
Yeah.
So, but that comes down to this: is people are going to complain, plain and simple. People are just going to complain, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
But there's a kicker here, Sean. Okay? The kicker is the Freeman factor. Okay? You brought up a few moments ago about, the Fiesta, losing the Fiesta Bowl. People gushing. Kelly's gone. People are gushing. We the players, they're screaming, we want Coach Freeman. Okay? The fan base is like, yep, Freeman, if he comes in, he's going to make the difference. And it was a love fest. And the coach he's been all business and as he should. Okay? And then you go into the locker room with a lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the game turns around and you end up in the loss column. Okay? The emotion on the Boo Birds, it was just another opportunity of waiting with bated breath. Okay? You're gushing on the guy, and then he loses his first game. You know what? Stuff happens.
Yeah. I was pissed when that happened. I made it clear in our recap, but I didn't just turn on the guy because I know that he stepped into a big transitional moment. And I still felt that, should have been better prepared, but that's beside the point. That's beside the point. Now it's back to square one. And I'm going to be in his back. I'm going to have his back all the way, just like I would any coach that comes here. I'm going to give them a fair chance. But just real quick, how this all correlates together is, this video where I was going at it with a couple of fans. The video was about all the excitement that Marcus Freeman has brought here, that the tide is turning at Notre Dame with excitement. I'm just like, okay, that's true. He's bringing a lot of excitement here. The recruiting, he's been all business.
He's killing it.
Yeah, he's killing it. The recruiting has been phenomenal. He's getting things done. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, what's going to happen when those games get played on the field? What's going to happen when, and I'm just going off the big names here, the big games. When Clemson comes to town this year, when we have like I said, we're at Ohio State this year, but when Ohio State comes to South Bend, when Texas A&M comes here, what is the color in the stadium going to be? Is it going to be all Notre Dame, or are they still going to sell their tickets? I mean,
until you prove otherwise, right? Until you prove otherwise, I would expect those tickets to be sold to those fans.
That's my point.
There's a point that you want to be proven wrong, and I guess that's the challenge. Prove the discussion wrong. Sell your tickets to a fan if you're not going to go. If you want to make some money on the game, sell it to a fan of the home team. Don't sell a ticket to the team that's traveling.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I want to be wrong.
Oh,
I want to be wrong. Even when they gave me the excuse about the fans sold their tickets, Sean, to that game because they didn't like Brian Kelly. They wanted him gone. Blah 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 blah. Well, what if that happens and Marcus Freeman is the coach and Marcus Freeman has done nothing to deserve criticism? Right? What's your excuse going to be then?
It's the spot. It's just what we talked about earlier. It's just finding another reason to make an excuse. It's ridiculous because you opted out of participating in an opportunity to help your team versus hurt. You've ended up hurting your team instead of helping them.
And my when I make the rebuttal of like, well, that didn't happen in Georgia, that didn't happen in Nebraska when we made our trips there, and I've had people say, well, maybe they take their football a little too serious. And yes, in the South, they love their football. Yes, that part's true. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you take it serious or don't. They still did not sell out their team.
So
they stood by.
You just said the key word. If they don't take their team serious, go someplace else. Right?
I didn't think about that, but that's a good point.
They can use that point. Will they take their football too serious? If you're the fan that's complaining, gets taking it serious. B, you're selling the tickets as an opportunity, okay, which shows you're not serious. You can't have it both ways. You're either fully invested in your team or you're not. There's no way around it, Sean. It's
no, there's not. There's not. And
you can't tell me they take this. I would rather have a fan that took a game too serious and shows up to the game or sold his ticket to a fan versus a fan that says, "Oh, I take the Irish serious," but they sell their ticket to a team that's coming in from the road.
Yeah, same here. And as long as people don't get all Oakland Raiders fans and start stabbing one another, I'm fine with that kind of enthusiasm. I'm fine with it. But it's like, and when I was talking about that, the Southern aspect, I'm talking about like Texas, like in Texas, for example, football is more than just a game down there. Well, you know what? Football is not the most important thing in the world, but if all I know is if we had fans that were that passionate about the team, then I would love that.
Well, you know what, and
that's
it's trickled down. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't think about this, but Texas, look at how they've been struggling recently. You still don't see them selling out their stadium. You still see all what's their color? Not like what kind of orange? Like a dark orange?
Yeah.
You still see Austin in dark orange in that stadium. You don't see any team taking that stadium over. Unless there's a time I missed.
If you're a fan, be the fan. Don't say you're all in and then sell your tickets.